Welcome, YouTubers. This is Angela Trapp with Life on 10 and my co-host,
Vanessa Walker. Thanks for joining us. We're really excited to be here again.
Absolutely. And Vanessa, we have some wonderful news. We have been up for 8 days only. And how many views do we have?
Almost 400.
Awesome.
I know.
Thank you, YouTube audience.
It is awesome. We're so excited.
And subscribe, please. So this is episode 2 of Life on 10. And I wanted to start off, Vanessa, with what we ended with on our last episode. And that was a question that I posed to everyone and to us as well. And the question is, I'll remind you guys, the question was, you came to the end of the relationship, of 2019. And what is it that you'd like to savor? And what would you like to focus on and create and bring into 2020? So I'm going to answer the question first.
Go for it.
And then you'll respond.
Yeah.
So 2019 for me was a year of transition. I want to say that many different transitions happening. And what I'd like to savor and take with me into 2020 is the courage that I face those transitions with. I found out, or I'd say I reconnected with this inner strength that I had some kind of way forgotten that I had.
Wow.
And because of the challenges that I experienced, and also I say opportunities, not challenges, I rediscovered myself. I rediscovered my strength, different gifts and talents that I had some kind of way lost. So even though 2019 was a challenging year for me, filled with opportunities in the sense that I was able to reconnect with just my inner strength and my essence. So I'm taking that into 2020 with me. And my intention for 2020 is simply to fall madly, hysterically, deeply in love with life.
I love it.
Every part of life.
That's fantastic.
Every aspect of life.
The good, the bad, the ugly.
Exactly. Because that's Life on 10.
Absolutely.
That's Life on 10.
Yeah.
What about for you?
So I don't know if I could top that. Wow. Looking back on 2019 for me, some parts of it I'm not going to say I muddled through, but there was a little bit of just, hitting the grind every day and getting a little bit lost in how was I going to show up to all the different challenges and things that I had, thrown at me throughout the year. And I feel like I did a good job. I was able to do it, but I was not finding something that really brought me a lot of joy. I love being a doctor. I love being a mom. I love being a wife. And these are all wonderful things that are in my life. But even Robert kept saying, as I said before, you got to have a hobby. You need something else other than these identities that you have, created for yourself. And you need to find something that makes you happy. And so I think working even more closely with you and us coming up with this idea of Life on 10 and everything that we're doing and finding something that I love doing, which literally I love nothing more in the world than talking and being with people and having fun conversations and challenging conversations and challenging myself and others. Doing that and actually verbalizing it and then taking the action to do it. That to me was awesome. The fact that we did this together and that I finally said, I am going to take some time for me and I'm going to do something that makes me happy and that it's fun and completely outside of what I do for my work, for my family, for everything. I think that was probably one of the coolest things that I've done for 2019.
Cool.
And so taking that and moving forward, there are a lot of things that are coming up for me, both in my personal life, but my professional life, that are going to be challenges. And instead of sitting back and being anxious or scared or nervous about things that are going to happen, I think my intention is to be open to everything and not think of things coming at me as scary or concerning, but more as you had said, opportunities, these challenges, these are opportunities to prove to myself that I can do anything, that I am able to tackle whatever's thrown at me.
Right.
And so that's the mindset I'm going in at. It's a bring it on mindset.
Excellent.
I'm ready for it, and I'm going to show up for it. And
Absolutely.
So I'm excited for 2020 and everything it has to bring.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wonderful. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's it. That's I think that is that I know that's living on 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. Having that mindset. So let's move into our next topic. Our
Yes.
topic for episode 2. And that topic is, go ahead.
So
Vanessa.
that topic, and you might notice Angela and I are dressed a little differently. That topic is stay-at-home parenting and working parenting. Is it a choice? Is it a need? Is it not a choice? It's how we do things. And when we make these decisions to do this, because everything is a decision or a choice. When we make these decisions, how do we feel about it? How do others see us and feel about it? And so I'm just going to play on that and say, I am dressed in the fashion that I would if I were a stay-at-home mom. This is what I would wear every single day. I would be comfy. I would be ready to tackle my 3-year-old and my 6-year-old and go to the park and do fun things. And Angela is dressed the way I dress every day for work.
Yep. Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. So what I was thinking when you're saying I dress like that that's a choice though.
It is.
Because you could be a stay-at-home mom and still dress up.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And that's the thing is that I threw this out there because I kind of also wanted to play with that stereotype, right?
Exactly.
Because everybody has this stereotype for working moms or for stay-at-home moms and dads that, really, what do they do all day? I have to go to work and I have to do this, and they just sit at home and wear their yoga pants and go to the coffee shop and do this, that, and the other,
Right.
and sometimes watch their kids. That's kind of a stereotype that I hear amongst those of us at work, because I am a working mom, so I don't get to be a stay-at-home mom, or I have not chosen to be a stay-at-home mom, so I don't know what it's like. Angela, I've heard you've done both.
I have.
So why don't you talk about that?
I had the blessing gift, I don't want to say it was a luxury, of having both of those experiences. So I worked until my son was 7.
Okay.
And then I was able to stay home from 7 to 16.
Okay.
What a difference.
Yeah.
2 different worlds. When I was a stay-at-home mom, what I used to get sometimes from my working friends and even my sisters who were working were like, oh, you're not doing anything all day long.
How lucky. You're
just so much judgment. It was just so much judgment. Lucky you.
Yeah.
You get to just drop him off and go exercise.
Exactly.
And hang out with your friends and have lunch, drink wine. And here I am. I'm having to wake up early, drop the kids off to daycare, go to work, pick them up, come home, do homework, do soccer. You just are living a life of Riley.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of judgment in there. And I'm not saying that it wasn't as stressful, as working and parenting at the same time, but it wasn't just all about relaxing.
Yeah.
Because I'm in charge of a life. Yeah. This is a life. And to me, there is nothing more important than raising your children. Yeah. I mean, you have a life. You are responsible for a life.
Yeah.
And I don't know, sometimes I don't know if we just lose the beauty and the gift of that whole thing, and how sacred that is. Yeah,
we definitely, when we look at the dynamic between choosing if you're gonna be a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home dad or go to work. I really wish we didn't have to choose, right? It'd be wonderful if we could we all had endless supplies of money and we just, got to be with our children all the time, but that's not the way it is. So we all know that the money doesn't grow on trees. It has to come from somewhere. So people have to work. And so we, do that. And some people want to work.
Yes.
That's the thing is that, I chose a profession that is incredibly rewarding. So when I go to work, I don't honestly feel like I'm at work. I feel like I'm doing what I was meant to do. And that makes me a better mom when I come home and I'm with
Right.
my children, because I'm energized, I'm recharged from all the things that I've done at that day, all the things that I've seen, and all the people that I've helped. And I don't think that just because I'm a doctor that's, you would only feel that way if you were a doctor.
No.
I think you would feel that way in any profession that you have, because everybody's job is meaningful. Everything contributes to society in some very important way,
Right.
no matter what your job is. And so I think, having that and taking that and going into not bringing your work home, but bringing the good things from your work home and the lessons that it teaches. But I also want to touch on how you had said about people being, lucky, you get to exercise, you get to do all these things. There have been studies that looked at what are the pros and cons of being a stay-at-home mom
Right.
or a stay-at-home parent. And some of the pros are that kids can do better in regards to behavioral aspects, things like that. Because when you send children to daycare, you get a whole bunch of little kids together, and you know what happens when you put a whole bunch of little bratty kids together. What happens?
Germs.
Yeah,
That's what I think of.
germs, true. and behavioral aggression,
Sure.
all kinds of things happen.
Right.
So they have done some studies, and they have shown that children that go into daycare can have a little bit more problems with aggression, behavioral disturbances. And so, but once again, these are studies.
Yeah.
This is not your child. This is population, right? This is not, every child is different. So kids can behavioral do a little bit better. Stay-at-home parents can have a really good bond with their children. But sometimes, those of us that go to work, we don't spend as much time. But some of the cons that we don't hear about or people don't think about is think about the mom and the dad that are home. Social isolation. They're not able to they're with kids. They're with 3 or 6-year-olds or 5-year-olds or whatever all day long. And sometimes Doc McStuffins in the background can make you a little crazy. So it increased risk of depression and feelings of isolation happen in that population. Yeah. So it's not all rainbows and sunshine on any side of this argument.
No, it's not. It goes back to what you value most, I think. And we can talk about choice. And I'm sure some people, when I say choice, are going to be like, oh, you get to choose. You got to choose whether you wanted to stay home or not. Yeah. You're so lucky you, in quotes with sarcasm.
Yeah.
That was a choice that my son's father and I made together. And in so doing and making that choice, there were other things that some of my friends, my more affluent friends, activities and things that they got to do, I didn't get to do because I made that choice to stay home. Yeah. So that did impact us financially. And it goes back again to priorities and values. For me, the most important thing is that you end up doing what makes you happy.
Exactly.
And what best serves you and your family. Yeah. And at that time, from 7 to 15, that was
what worked for you.
That's what totally worked for me. And I loved staying home with him. And I can personally say, and you have to ask my son, I do feel that because I had that opportunity, that our relationship is even closer. Yeah. And I would never trade anything for that. I have a friend that asked me the other day about sacrifices. She's like, that was a big sacrifice because you put your career on hold and now you enter the work world later on at a more mature age than if you would have been working all along. What a sacrifice that was for you. And I was like, sacrifice? That didn't feel good inside. Yeah. I didn't feel like that.
Because it makes it like the time you spent with Jalen was not important or not enriching your life.
Exactly. Yeah. And so the word sacrifice just didn't feel good inside. And I thought about it and I said to her, I don't see it as a sacrifice at all. It wasn't a sacrifice. It was wonderful. It was life enriching for me. And I wouldn't trade anything in the world for it. I love spending time with him. I love being able to be there at the school and pick him up. Yeah. And so again, it's about what you value. And that was what really was important to me at that time. Now, when I did go back to work, I'll tell you what happened. Mommy guilt. Yeah. Even though he was 15, because I had stayed that time with him, it was like, oh, I'm not there to pick him up. Which at 15, he probably was super glad that I wasn't there to pick him up. You know what I'm saying? And the days that I was there to pick him up, he was like, oh God. You know, it was just like, because his friends are driving and everything, and his mom is pulling up. Jalen. So, but there was still, even though he's 15 years old, and I had that, the gift of being able to stay home with him, you know, those 7 years or 8 years, I still had that little bit of, I'm not there at the end of the day. I'm getting home later. No, he doesn't need me to help him with his homework or anything like that, but I'm not there when he gets home. And I've spoken with several of my other friends who are professionals, women in the work world, and they talk about mommy guilt. Big time mommy guilt. You know, you and I have heard it a lot, right?
I can tell you, you know, Angela and I host a peer group at my house, and we have a lot of physicians, and most of them tend to be women. Women are really good at taking care of themselves emotionally. I'll tell you that.
Yes.
Men, get the hint. You need to jump on board.
To join our group.
You need to join our group. But we all, that is a central theme through, I'm not going to say every peer group, but I think at least once, one of us is going to touch on the fact
on the mommy guilt.
That we feel guilt. And I had this conversation with my dad, you know, the other day, because both my parents worked. You know, my mom worked, but she was a nurse. And so she was able to pick up shifts and be home with us a lot when we were little. But then when I turned 8, she had to go to work, you know, pretty much full time and worked all the time. And so I know that, I don't know if my mom felt guilt, because I actually haven't asked her this question. I know, but I asked my dad this. I said, hey Dad, you know, did you feel any guilt by not being there, by working? And you know, and it never even crossed his mind.
Isn't that interesting? That's so
to
interesting.
Feel guilt. But that's because society expects him to go to work. That was how he was raised. He's the man. He's supposed to go to work. He's supposed to take care of his family and have kids and do all these things. So he was simply doing what he was meant to do.
Right.
So then you flip that coin around, and here I am. I was raised my whole life that, you know, you don't want to be a stay-at-home mom. Your gifts are wasted. I mean, that's what I heard, right? You have so much to bring to this world.
Yes.
And you need to go out and get a career, and you need to be a strong, independent career woman, and you're going to be a doctor. And I mean, from age 5, I was going to be a doctor, and I made it happen. And
did you know from age 5 that was you? That was your idea. That was your idea.
My mom was a nurse. My dad was a respiratory therapist. And I thought, watch this. I'm going to be a doctor. I have known forever. And everybody says, wow, I've never known somebody who actually became what they said they were going to do their whole life. But I knew that was what I was going to do. But I never imagined the guilt, the sadness that I would have when I go to work every single day. And I leave before they wake up, and sometimes I get home after they've gone to bed, and I walk into their little rooms and I kiss them, and my heart breaks a little bit every day. Yeah. So mommy guilt is real, and I don't know that dads have that same
question though.
thing.
That's a great question.
So if if you're watching, please weigh in. Working dads, let us know if you feel guilty, because I don't know. I don't know if you feel guilty.
That's a great question. That's a great question. Put that in the comments, please. Yeah, that's a great question. I wonder if it's just a society thing. I was speaking to a friend of mine the other day, a dad that does stay home, and he talked about like not feeling masculine. Because, you know, he's not out there being a breadwinner. Loves being home with the kids and everything, but still was really honest with me and just said, there's still this little part of me. It's just like, And the other thing is, when he gets together with other men, they don't know what to say to him. They don't know what to say. It's just like, I think he's working on a book. So what they do say is, hey, did you finish that book yet?
It's a job.
It's like, what am I going to say to this dude? He's not out there in the working world. He's raising kids. I have no conversation for him. So they'll just say, hey, you know, how the book's going? I'll buy it. Let me know when it's finished. Something like that. But he said it feels awkward, and he's kind of struggling through that whole, I know that I love being home with my kids. Why do I feel guilty about being home with my kids? And why am I feeling less than? Like I'm raising my kids. I have been, not tasked with, but this wonderful gift of life. Why would I feel guilty about that?
Yeah.
So it's the reverse kind of thing.
It's because society made us feel and it makes sense. Like, you go back evolutionary wise, right? The men were the stronger, so they're going to be the ones that are going out and fighting off the cougars or whatever.
Hunter-gatherers.
Exactly. Hunter-gatherers. And the women were the ones that gave life. They had the babies, and they were the ones that were providing the babies nourishment. So it made sense. Our world has changed so much, but that construct has stayed with us. And now more and more women are going out to the working force. More women are going into college.
Yeah.
Now, like, for example, in my field in medicine, more than 50% of the medical school classes are starting to become, more female. So we are having, and even the within the constructs of female and male genders alone, those are changing.
Yeah.
And something that blows me away, and we're going to get into all these topics because as we're talking, we're like, oh my God, we can have a show on this. Oh my gosh, we can have a show on that. We're talking about all these different things. We are going to have a show dedicated to gender roles and
Absolutely.
and how they interact with us, and not only in parenting, but in every aspect of our life. So we're going to have a show on that. But I think, as we've talked about before, in every episode that we have that we're going to be talking about is choices that people make, decisions that people have, and lifestyles that people have chosen. It's all about not being judgmental about it. And I think that this is definitely one of them, because moms and dads that stay at home and moms and dads that work, we are all going to go and scour the internet for literature that supports our decision.
Absolutely. Confirmation bias. Yes. Confirmation bias.
Right. That's what we're going to do, because we want to feel good about our choices.
Of course.
And so let's just you can do that. I'm not saying don't do that. But then don't take that information that you've had and weaponize it against other moms and dads that have made a different choice.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't help improve relationships. It doesn't help improve understanding. Yeah. All it does is make us further and further apart and separate us when we're all in the same boat. We all have,
It comes, bottom line, it comes down to honoring that person's choice and letting people live their lives the way they want to live them.
Absolutely.
It's really like the same treatment that you would want someone to give to you.
Yeah.
Like you would want, me to say, Vanessa, do you live your life, live your life on 10 the way you want to live it, as long as you're not causing any hurt or harm to me or anyone else. Now, we want to make sure of that. But it's just extending that same respect. It's that respect. And again, we go back to what's happening in our world today. This kind of ties in, is that me trying to persuade you, or even to the point where I'm forcing my opinions and values onto you, and not having, not allowing you to just express you.
Yeah.
Because we're all individuals and we have this self-expression. And saying, that's wonderful for you.
Yeah.
Are you happy doing that? I'm happy for you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I think it's so hard for some people, and sometimes for me, I got something in my throat, sorry, to be happy for other people. It's really easy to be happy for yourself. Oh, I got this. I got all these things.
Stuff.
But when you see somebody either getting something that you don't have, that you want, that you being happy for them, it enriches your own life.
It really does.
Because jealousy and envy are some of the most negative, emotions that you can feel.
Yeah. It reminds me of my brother-in-law. He's passed on now, but my brother-in-law was so good at just that, by celebrating everyone else's his success, but everyone else's as well, that you would not know it was not happening to him. I remember, I'll give you an example of Bill. I remember getting my new car. I don't even know what it was. And he came out of his house to see it, and his expression was just like it was his car. He you would have thought that it was his brand new car. He was so happy and he jumped up and down and he was like, oh my God, this is beautiful. And he was one of those people that would say, oh, look at the door handle, look at the leather, look at the, I mean, he was one of those people. And it was so he was so just joy filled for you that I would have to say, whose car is that? Is it my car? I don't know. Is it Bill's car? But that's who he was. And it was genuine and it was authentic. And what I learned from Bill was that, when you do that, you get to celebrate life so much more.
And so many more times.
Because I get to celebrate my success, but if I'm happy for you, I get to celebrate yours, I get to celebrate Robert's, I get to celebrate everyone's. I get to freaking celebrate life. And that is that's being madly, ridiculously in love with life, like I said. And that's my 2020 thing, is to be just like that.
Yeah. And people want, and when people when I find people that are like that, I want to be with them more.
Yes.
I want to share with them. I want them to succeed. I want to succeed with them. My best friend in the entire world, who I have known since I was 3, is exactly like that.
Wow.
And that's why we've been friends forever. I mean, we love each other so much that she built a house one door down from me. And it's funny because we talked about this even when we were little kids. We're going to live next door to each other.
Oh
we said this. And when we had the opportunity to do it, her amazing husband was like, Jen, you've got to do this, because there's no way we're going to ever have this opportunity again. And we did. And we're so happy that that they did it together, because Robert and I are just super blessed to have them with us and be able to be a part of our lives. But they are people that I know that anytime something good happens to me, it's almost like it's happening to them too. Yeah. They are just as happy about it. They're, awesome. And so I know we've kind of gone off topic.
We digress.
It's okay. It's okay, because I think that, what the whole, this will just going to tie into our next few episodes, is everything that we're doing in regards to this topic today, being, choosing to be working parent or being a stay-at-home parent. It's all about choices, and it's all about your personal choices, your family, and the decisions that you can make, and not judging people, being happy and trying to promote their success and everybody around us. Yep. We all win. We all win if we do that. And so I think that just goes into that, and surrounding yourself with people that have that kind of mindset, and letting go of people that don't support you or that run you down, because that's not going to help you feel good about yourself or what you're doing. And you don't need to feel good about yourself all the time, because sometimes you need someone to kind of slap you down and say, hey, let's rethink this choice, or you got to surrounding yourself with genuine people who support you.
It's infectious when you surround. It's very, very important to be selective in your community who you surround yourself by. I think that it's just so very important for us to allow each other to self-express, and just honor those choices. It's like, you're a unique individual, and that's what makes this whole planet so wonderful. And I don't need you to act like me, or to make the same choices and have the same values that I have. And at the end of the day, that's what this is really about. So whether I choose to stay home, and I know I'm going to get some feedback on choice, because they're going to say a lot of people don't get to choose, they have to go to work, and you're absolutely right. And I had 2 working parents, and I honor that. If you are in a position to choose, so I want to correct myself, to stay home, that's wonderful. And if you decide to go to work, that's wonderful as well.
Exactly.
It really comes down to what makes you happy, and what serves your family best.
Because your children, what they will remember most is, I look back, I went to daycare, I went to all these things, but what I remember most is all the amazing quality time that my parents spent with me every single day. I mean, they showed up for me and my brothers. I mean, I can't even express how wonderful my parents are. And I have that feeling about them even though they went to work, or, you know, it doesn't matter. It's all that matters is that when they were with me, they were with me. And every decision that they've ever made has been, how can my kids, you know, do better, do more, get more things? How can I make my kids' lives more enriched? And I think that as a parent, if you are focusing on how can my kids' lives be better, and if sometimes that means I need to go get a massage, or I need to go out with my girlfriends, or I need to go, you know, my husband does, you know, woodworking or all kinds of amazing projects. He needs to go by himself in the garage and work on a project. Then that's what he needs to do. We all need to do what makes us happy, because if we are miserable, we're not going to show up for them. And our kids are the most important thing.
Yeah, and your kids pick up on that as well. They're very intuitive. Vanessa, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
So you talked about, we touched upon mommy guilt a little bit. And you did mention that you have some. I
have tons, not some.
How do you deal with it?
I cry sometimes. I mean, it's, my husband's like, stop crying. You're such a baby. I cry a lot, but I don't know that that's necessarily a bad thing, because it kind of, I feel better afterwards. Like it lets it out. It's a catharsis for me. But when my daughter or my son say, Mom, are you going to work? Yeah, sweetie. Are you going to help people? Yeah, I'm going to help people. Right. You know, so that helps a little bit with the mommy guilt, talking about it, and having a husband who completely supports me and tries to, you know, make me reframe the concept of guilt. Well, are you doing something wrong? No. Well, then why do you feel guilt? You can feel sad that you're not with your kids all the time, or you can wish that you were, but don't feel guilty about it. You're not doing anything wrong. You're not hurting them. They're fine. You know, the kids are fine.
Right.
So but I'm not great at dealing with it. I'm processing it. I still feel it. So clearly it's there. And I hope it gets better as time goes on, but it's definitely hard. I never, ever thought I'd feel this way. Never in a million years thought I'd feel this way.
What would you say to our female audience, or also our male audience that might be also having that guilt, struggling with that? Do you have anything?
Like I said, I think just talking to somebody, having a tribe that helps and understands what you're going through and how you're feeling. But I don't know that we're going to escape it, because we are living in a society that built us this way. Yeah. So it's going to take some more time moving forward, and trying to, you know, get our kids to not, you know, if we can change society moving forward, maybe it'll be less for them. I think it's going to be generations away. Yeah. It's not going to be overnight. But it's just changing the concept of gender roles and gender norming, and making it so it's not. I mean, my husband stays home. Yes. I know that I have somebody there constantly 100% loving and protecting and cherishing my children. So it's not even that I feel like I'm, you know, leaving them to strangers or somebody else is raising them. Because I've heard people say that. Why did you even bother to have children if you're not going to be there to raise them? Oh, yeah, that one. You know, that's just so judgmental and negative, and it brings nothing good to the conversation. I you know, if you want to feel that way, go for it. But I'm doing the best that I can. I'm doing the best that I can. I think as long as you know that, that's the best you can do. Yeah.
I like what Robert told you, to reframe that. I think that's really powerful. Yeah. You know, what do you have to be guilty about? Yeah. Sadness is okay and normal. Yeah. And because you love them, so that's okay. Yeah. But the guilt part,
And sometimes I feel guilty that I'm not guilty.
You know, I totally understand that. You know, I get that. I get that.
I call Robert and hey, how are things going? And I hear the kids like screaming and crying in the background, and I can just hear the frustration in his voice. And I'm like, I'm glad I'm not there. Bye.
That's awesome.
You know, So
that's honest. You're being honest. That's just honesty.
It is. We all wish we could be different people, but that's where we need to stop, or it would be more helpful to us to not. Right. I don't like using the word need, because we want to be supportive in our language. We're just working on every day, loving what we have, enjoying what we have, even if it's not great.
Yeah.
You know, because it can always be better. And if it doesn't, you're alive. I woke up this morning.
Exactly.
I took a breath, because not everybody gets to do that.
Exactly. Yeah. Just savoring life.
Yeah.
Savoring life.
Yeah. I think that's life on 10.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So we welcome your comments and your feedback. Also, what we would love for you to do this time, we're going to add a little bit more as we go along through episodes, is that we would like for you to put your life on 10 moments in the comment section as well. So moments where you feel like, yeah, I'm living life on 10, just write that down a little bit, jot a couple of lines down in the comment section, and what we'll do is we'll pick some of those and read on our next episode and share with our audience. So let me just stop right now. Life on 10, again, does not mean that you're sharing only those moments of celebration, of joy. Life on 10 means when life shows up in all its many different faces, because it does, that you were at your 10 and you met it, even if it means that, hey, you know what? All I could do was lift my head off the pillow today. But I did that.
Yeah.
That was life on 10. Okay, I made it to the shower. Life on 10. You know what? That person cut me off and they gave me a very interesting finger gesture. And I did something a little bit different. Instead of yelling and, and giving it back to them, I just didn't respond. Oh, that was a life on 10 moment.
Yeah.
You can also look at our Instagram, which is Life on 10, and we're going to have that on the bottom of the page so you can see that, and our Facebook page. And I posted a Life on 10 moment when I went to Miami and surprised my niece, who thought I was in California. To me, that was a Life on 10 moment to see her expression.
Yeah.
And so again, Life on 10 is celebrating every aspect of life, being madly, ridiculously in love with life.
I love it.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us, and we will see you next time.
We will see you next time, and I'm just going to throw this out there. I did not discuss this with Vanessa, but I would like for our next episode to be on depression.
Okay.
Yep.
I think that's excellent, and that's definitely an important topic to talk about. And if those of you that know people or are struggling with it yourselves, please, you can bring in comments or viewpoints or things that you'd like us to discuss. We're happy to do it.
Beforehand.
So, and make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, and share our videos, because the only way that we're going to be able to, continue to share all this wonderful stuff with you guys, we think it's wonderful, I don't know, is if you guys share us with your friends and family.
So thank you. And again, try to live each and every moment being on 10, your 10.
Yes.